Listen, if your home's on the market and it's still not selling, I'm going to tell you the truth, most people won't. If you're not getting showings, it's overpriced. If you're getting some showings but no offers, it's still overpriced. And I know it's not what people want to hear, because what most sellers are thinking is, maybe it's the market, maybe it's the timing, maybe I need to wait just a little longer. But here's the reality. Homes are selling fast, even in today's market, just not all of them. Hi, I'm Tina Veltri. I'm a realtor on Florida's Space Coast, and I work with people who want to buy, build, sell, and relocate. But a big part of what I do is I help sellers understand why their home is not selling and what they can actually do about it. Because it's not just about price. It's about how your home shows, how it's presented online, condition, curb appeal, staging, and how all of that lines up together with what buyers are comparing your home to. And I see this happening all the time. Homes sitting, pricing drops, deals fall apart. Not because the home is bad or there's something wrong with it, but because something is off with the strategy. So on this channel, I break down what's actually happening so you can understand your options, see what's not working, and fix it before you lose time and money. And I put together a seller guide that walks you through the entire process, the strategy, the preparation, the pricing, so you're not guessing your way through it. And I'm going to be putting that in the description below. And I also have many other videos for sellers on pricing your home, staging, and what buyers are actually seeing. Now I'll tell you something. Buyers are deciding whether or not they even want a showing before they ever walk through your door. They're making decisions. They're online. They're scrolling. They're comparing your home to everything else at that price point. And if something doesn't line up, you could lose that showing and they're gone. I had an out-of-town buyer, big dog, needed a fenced yard, and we kept seeing listings that said fenced yard or didn't mention anything about the yard. And it didn't show the backyard in the photos. So oftentimes I had to go preview the home before my customer even wanted to step through the front door, because if the yard didn't work, the home didn't work. On one occasion, we scheduled a showing because the backyard in the photos looked like it was going to be adequate for the dog. But when we got there, what we noticed, that yard was tiny. And it was very clear that the photos were deceptive, just to get us in the door. Now, here's something I need sellers to really think about and consider, because most people really do miss this. They'll look at a home that's sold down the street and say, oh, well, that is what mine should be worth, or mine is better, mine should be worth more. But remember, buyers are comparing everything. Is your home updated? Is theirs? Is there a pool? Does yours have a pool? Does yours show better? Does theirs? What's the age of the roof or the mechanical systems of the home? Because the same price doesn't mean the same value. And this is where I'm very direct, probably more direct than most, because I do lose listings because of this. I've had sellers say, let's just try this price and see what happens. Or I want this price for my home, period. Now, I've walked away from many listings like that, because here's the truth. The market is the market. And when you first go on the market, those 7 to 14 days are crucial. And you will end up lowering your price substantially. And then it has buyers thinking, what's wrong with that home? Or better yet, I knew that home wasn't worth what they were listing it at. So if you don't like the price the market is telling you, it just might not be the right time for you to sell. I'll tell you what I'm seeing right now. Now, I have a buyer who is seriously considering not selling her home. She put it up at the price that she wanted to get, and she had an open house, and she had feedback. And all the feedback she's getting is, love the home, not the price. And so she has two options: adjust the price or take her home off the market, because right now might not be the time for her to sell. And so instead of adjusting her price, she's considering another option, and that is maybe renting her home and holding on to it. And honestly, I've told her that might be the right strategy for her right now. And this customer trusts me, but it took me telling her that what her agent was telling her about price was absolutely correct, because it's a hard thing to hear. Because honestly, you know, this is emotional and it happens all the time. Sellers just don't believe the feedback. They believe their home is worth a certain price and they hang on to it until it's too late. And it really does cost them money and time. Now, I'll give you a real example. I had sellers who really wanted to move closer to an elderly parent. The home had some issues. It was beautiful, but it had some issues. And I told them up front, I need you to do a pre-listing inspection, because when you know what's coming, you can fix things early and you can control the costs, and you're not negotiating under pressure later. But they didn't do that. So we listed the home anyway. We handled things like the smoke and did an ozone treatment, but they kept smoking right in front of the AC handler. We got it under contract and we fell out of contract. The seller didn't want to use a licensed plumber to fix that knob that cost $20 on his washing machine. He wanted to do it himself. And I don't blame him. That's why that pre-listing inspection is so critical, because little things like a knob, a handle can be done by the homeowner or a handyman so much cheaper. Of course, you always want to have a licensed contractor to deal with your major systems of your home and your roof. But being able to do things on your own that do not require a licensed contractor before you get under contract and have to use one can save you so much money. And that's what the seller wanted to do. They did not want to get all of these little things fixed by a licensed contractor and spend all kinds of money. So we fell out under contract. We got rid of that contract. We did not fix everything that they wanted, and we put the home back on the market. Now, I'm going to give you a real life example here. I had a seller who wanted to move because they wanted to be closer to an elderly parent. Now, the home was beautiful in a great subdivision, but it had some issues that we knew of. And I wanted them to get a pre-listing inspection prior to their home going on the market. I explained to them that they would be saving more money if they did it that way, rather than waiting to go under contract and then having to fix everything through a licensed contractor. I also knew that the home needed an ozone treatment, because as soon as you walked in the front door, you immediately got hit by the smell of cigarettes. Unfortunately, my seller did not listen to any of my advice. They wanted to put their home on the market immediately. We had the open house, did all the marketing, and what happened? Lots of showings, lots of people in, and the first thing they said was, get rid of the cigarette smell. So we had to take care of that first. And that took about a week and a half, 2 weeks to resolve that problem. And here you go. The home is on the market, but we're not doing any showings. Then we accept an offer, and it's during inspection period. The buyer has their inspection, and they come back with all of the things that need to be repaired on the home. And remember, now a licensed contractor needs to be used for everything. Well, at least that's what most buyers require. So that little handle or knob on the washing machine now required a plumber to do it. When the homeowner saw how much everything was going to cost, they said, nope, we're not fixing it. Then the seller took their inspection report and fixed everything that they could on their own. And then the other things, they got a licensed contractor to make those repairs. And after all was said and done, after all the work, after all the delays, after all the wasted time on this home, we got an offer $5,000 less than what the sellers wanted. And it was truly the right price at that time because the home had been on the market now for several months and the value kept going down. That was what the market value was. That's what the two homes in the subdivision sold for. That was the market price. And guess what? They did not sell their home because they wanted that $5,000 and they're still in that home today. So bottom line is you never know what's going to happen in the market. You never, ever know. So the best thing to do is hit the ground running, do it fast. You don't need to test it. Get as many people in your home as fast as possible to get the most offers and get your home under contract as quickly as you can. Because I'll be honest, it is hard to watch sometimes. It really is. It is hard to watch how sellers end up losing money because it wasn't the market. It was based on the decisions that they held onto. Now, because that home should have sold right away. There were 4 listings in that particular neighborhood, and all 3 sold at a good price. My listing was the only one that didn't. And that was because of bad decisions. Now, there are other things that matter besides just pricing. There's things like decluttering and cleaning and lighting and doing small repairs because those affect how buyers experience your home when they walk in. But none of them overrides price. That lines up, homes sell. When they don't, they sit. And if you're in this position and you're not really sure what's off, this is exactly what I walk sellers through every day. And I'm here to help you too. I'm Tina Veltri. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel as I put out a new video every Tuesday. And make sure to grab my seller guide. I'm going to put the link in the description below. Now make sure to check out my other seller videos. I have a lot of great information on here. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next video.